What's up, Degenerate Nation? Welcome to the Big Bets on Campus podcast. This is the college football betting kickoff episode part 2. I'm Stuckey, and joining me, as always, fellow BBOC co-host Collin Wilson. I'm assuming most of you already listened to part 1. Let's just dive right back into it with part 2. Coordinator positive, and then I'll let you go coordinator negative. Alabama, I agree with you on Grubb. Wisconsin mentioned. Utah, agree with. I love both Texas Tech coordinator hires.
Yep.
Leftwich and Wood. I like both Houston coordinator hires with Nagel reuniting with his head coach and Armstrong. I think West Virginia.
Tulane West at Houston now.
Yep. West Virginia getting Alley, I think, is a good. I think he knows what he's doing. I think that was a good get. They paid for him. Mentioned Kansas, Coastal Carolina. Their defensive coordinator, Jeremiah Johnson, brings a ton of his staff over from La Tech. La Tech had one of the most underrated defenses in the country last year. I think that was a really good hire. We'll see what just from a schematic perspective, they were doing some really interesting things in the middle of the field. So I like that hire. I think it's going to hurt La Tech, especially like just a lot of the positional coaches that they lost. Penn State was, just huge. Miami defensive coordinator, I think Heatherman was a good hire. I think he's a good fit for what they want to do. And then another one I didn't mention yet. Well, 2 positive. Last one's Bowling Green, Eddie George, ties to the area. I think that's what Bowling Green wants to be like. You want to know what Eddie George's teams were like at the FCS level? It's picture Eddie George running the ball and how he ran it. Like that's who they are. Like just violent on both sides of the ball. I think that's like a good identity for what BG should try to become in the future. And then Vatek, I like both of their hires. Sneaky, really good defensive coordinator hire. A lot of unknown, but where he came from, the NFL teams that he came from, the background there, I think that he is going to do some really good things schematically. And then their OC Montgomery, I think working with drones, I think could be helpful. So those are the hires that I do like. Feel free to share any thoughts there, but more curious to get your thoughts on who you don't like.
I think Eddie George's contacts within Ohio State is going to be big for the Bowling Green roster. They're going to be able to bounce things off them all the time. I think it really is. I don't know if that pays off day one, but I think it pays off for the program.
Yeah. They'll be patient with them, as I think they should be.
Yeah. There are coordinators I don't like. There's 4 of them. The first one is at UMass. As if UMass wasn't already unwatchable, offensive coordinator Mike Bahakian is slow and dreadful and inefficient and loves to pass behind the line of scrimmage. I don't know. I mean, I thought UMass is switching to conference. Maybe there could be something to bet there, but I can't do it with Bahakian at offensive coordinator. I don't know what the hell Central Florida is doing.
Bahakian, the guy who was he was fired when at Northwestern when you were all excited about vertical.
Yeah.
Was that the vertical and who was that? Where did that come from? Remember your quote? No, that was San Diego State. Vertical and
electric and vertical with Jeff Hecklinski. Yeah.
Right.
He got me fired up. We talk about an interview that got me fired up. I thought San Diego State was going to run the highest tempo in the nation. Listen, UCF. I don't know. I thought the Alex Grinch experiment was done. All right. I mean, when you
what does this guy have on? This guy has the Epstein files. What does he have on everybody?
Like, isn't Eric Shenander out there somewhere? What are we doing, Scott Frost? What do we do? We're going out to get Alex Grinch.
Unbelievable.
I mean, this guy had like one good year at Washington State, got buried at Ohio State, made it out to USC, just took a bag of money and didn't show up to work ever. And now he's going to be the defensive coordinator at UCF. Not good. And then Florida had this term for their defensive coordinator, Todd Grantham. They called him Third and Grantham. Now Oklahoma State's going to have him as a defensive coordinator. Like, we've gone from Jim Knowles as a coordinator at Oklahoma State down to like a D3 Gannon University, DC. And now we've got Todd Grantham, who just absolute dumpster fire. Like, passing downs every down, even in first down, just start off 1st and 20. Like, why is Todd Grantham a defensive coordinator still? And he's at Oklahoma State. That is not going to get us over any kind of win total. And then finally, I'll let you rant on this. Listen, Brian Hartline has been a mainstay in the Ohio State coaching staff. So he's going to try to be Chip Kelly-ish, but the problem is you just can't be the artist that Chip Kelly is on the X's and O's. And I think that's a downgrade. No disrespect to Brian Hartline, but you're not Chip Kelly. And then the other side of the ball with Matt Patricia. calling the defense, I will hand that off to you, sir. That's a step.
My prediction on the Ohio State season is it ends. They'll probably make the college football playoff. It's going to come down to the quarterback. He's obviously going to be really good, but we'll see how good by the end of the year. But my prediction is their season ends with Patricia just trying to do too much, and they give up a touchdown. We can clip this if this actually happens. They give up a touchdown late to lose the game. Patricia takes his pencil out of his ear, slams it on the ground, and they flash to Ryan Day, and he's screaming about the state of Ohio turning red. And that's how their season ends this year, and they do not repeat. But, yeah, that's a big downgrade. We'll see, Patricia, if he's a new man. I did not like that hire. He isn't. He looks different. He lost a ton of weight. He looks completely different if you haven't seen any interviews with him. But that's my prediction on the Ohio State season. Not a fan. I had that listed. I had Grinch listed. What is Northern Illinois doing, by the way? I don't know. They lost a good defensive coordinator. They bring in this offensive coordinator, Sanders, from, I think he was at Charleston, and they want to, spread it out and throw. They don't have –
but you know why?
Because they're going to the Mountain West.
Right.
But, I still don't think that's who they can – can they get the – I don't know. I think that's what they're just getting ready for the move. I think it's going to be a disaster this year. Northern Illinois, their identity should be let's win 23-20. We're just going to run it, set up some play action, and then rely on our defense. And their defense could take a step back this year too.
Listen, can I just get this out of the way?
Yeah,
and you can bleep me out. I'm still fucking mad about that about that Potato Bowl under.
Oh my gosh,
mad about that Potato Bowl.
Oh
I'm still not able to process that loss. Anyways, we can
PSA to all coaches, just for my
Thomas Hammock.
Go for two. It's the Potato Bowl, or how about what was the Motor City Bowl with Narduzzi kicking a field goal from the 1 against the MAC team in double overtime to keep it going? What are you doing? That was the most deserved loss I've ever seen. But it's over. Go for two. It happened luckily I was on the right side of this one. It happened in the Hawaii Bowl on Christmas Eve. Yeah, I have a shirt. I bought a shirt I gave from that bowl because I ended up on the right side of it. They're all to end the game. Go for two. Unbelievable that these teams won't do that, and they just do it the first overtime. The other team kicks it. You go for two. You're going for the win. It's the Potato Bowl. Come on.
Well, what made me think of this is now Thomas. We're going to line up in overtime with Northern Illinois' offense, and they're going to be in 5 wides, right on the 2-yard line.
Unbelievable. And then they kept missing that game. They kept missing 30-yard field goals. If one of them would have went, the game, that was unbelievable. That game that went over. So what else? Let me see if there's any negatives. I didn't like the Kennesaw hires, but what are you going to do at Kennesaw? Georgia State coordinators, didn't like those.
Shout out to FIU. They're going the HBCU route. I think that's going to work for them down there. I don't mind that at all. Yeah, they had some money to keep Keon Jenkins around at quarterback, so I don't dislike what they're doing down there at FIU.
I have some inclination to throw some shekels on FIU to win the conference, but we'll get there in no time. The other thing I want to mention, Kent State, what a flaming disaster. Their defensive coordinator left 2 weeks ago. He went to an became an FCS assistant at North Dakota State. Kent State is in rough shape. Rough shape.
You know what was going on with Kenny Burns, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to talk about it? I don't know.
No, I don't think we are. It's good for him to get out of Dodge.
Yeah. Kent State, what's their win totals at 1.5? It might be 2.5.
Let me check my projection. I cannot believe we're down this far in the first. I don't know how I have them 2.4. Okay.
They should have a win. The win total is 1.5. Choose to the over, but it's basically 2. because they play Merrimack. I haven't done my work on Merrimack. They
Yeah.
lost some O-line transfers. That's all I know. They play Merrimack at home in week 1. Like, you assume that's a win, but I don't know. Didn't they lose to like St. Francis 2 years ago or last year?
Mhm.
They also did St. Francis last year, right? Was that last year? They went 0-12 last year, so they lost to their FCS school. So they could. I don't know. I don't know how good or bad Merrimack is. I don't have a projection for that game, so I don't know. But if you assume that's a win, they do get UMass at home.
Yeah.
And then where's another possible win? Like, I mean, Central Michigan at home late in the year. Like, maybe that's just a dumpster fire. Ball State's on the road. Ball State might be really bad. And then they have the Wagon Wheel game against Akron. The interesting thing about Akron is they're not eligible for the postseason. I don't know what's going to go on with them, but their academic scores are so low that they can't win the MAC. So if you go and look at MAC odds, there's no Akron. They can't go to a bowl. They can't go to the, not that they were going to, but they're not eligible for postseason play, and they have reduced practice time throughout the season. And if Akron doesn't improve they're the first team since Idaho, like 12 years ago, that is banned from postseason play due to low academic scores.
Right.
They kind of suspended it for a while during COVID, and now they're back with the averages. If Akron doesn't improve their academic scores, and I'm sure they'll maybe just fudge them, I don't know. But if they don't improve their academic scores and their score next year, they lose status as D1. Lose status as D1 next year. But yeah, I mean, I guess they could win. They could beat Merrimack, and then if Akron and UMass. So I guess there's a path to 3 wins. But it's a dumpster fire. All right, enough on coaches. Let's talk. Well, I guess one final thing on coaches. Hot seat. I will say I'll say the 10 I'm most interested in from a hot seat perspective. You can tell me if you agree and add any. Ryan Day, if he loses to Michigan again. Kidding. There will be some Ohio State fans if that happens again. Get them out of here. I'll start Hugh Freeze. Just it seems like that's souring. Recruiting's not going as well.
They saved the money for this year. They saved their money for this year.
Yep.
So.
Wilcox at Cal. That seems like it's about to.
I don't know why he's still there.
Yeah.
I mean, they want to go a different direction. They want to go Ron Rivera. So.
Yep. That seems like it's going to end very soon. Satterfield at Cincy, like, you got to do something soon, man.
He was eating lunch by himself at Big 12 Media Days. I mean, I don't know. It's amazing the turn of Louisville and Cincinnati over the past 2 years. I think it just shows the difference between Brom and Satterfield.
Yep. Major difference. 2 all grouped together are Stoops and Norvell. They have massive buyouts. Mm-hmm. If like Stoops, if you go like 3-9 again, I don't know. Kentucky's a basketball school. I don't think that they should put the money towards. They're not winning a national title in football. But if you have another disastrous season, do they think about the buyout? There's a lot of money here. And then Norvell, like, that is a football school. You can't go like 3-9 again. I mean, if you go 2-10 again, you got to get them out of there. I don't know. They'll find a way to come up with the money. I don't know how, because you got to put the money towards the program too. But if this ends in a disaster again for Norvell, like, you can't beat Florida State and go 2-10 and then 4-12. Like, he's got to get to a bowl. Otherwise, I think they're finding the money somewhere. Someone's going to pony up. Cumbie and Dilfer, I think, are kind of in similar. Like, I think they would have been gone if this was 5 years ago, if the environment.
I think Cumbie's in way better shape than Dilfer.
Yeah, but I think both got to get to a bowl this year. Otherwise, I'm surprised Dilfer came back, actually. Like, they brought him back, but he's on thin ice. Venables. I think I don't know. I think that it's Oklahoma. You can't just. They go 6-6 again this year.
I did hear that he was told, you are making this change on offense and you are going to be hands off. So at least the administration, when the administration generally gets that much involved, the next step is you're gone. So
Didn't they lose? They lost Allie. Allie went to West Virginia.
Yeah.
They wanted. I don't know.
You're not wrong.
Gundy. He has such a they went to 18 straight bowls. He's been there forever.
Yeah.
But can you afford another complete dumpster fire there? It's be interesting to watch. That team is.
We're on our way.
That team is completely brand new. There's some teams that are just I'm like, how do I power rate this team? Like that. That's one of the most difficult things about early on in the year is that you could have teams like a Florida State that you adjust by 20 points. You never would do that in the past, right? You used to have known floors and ceilings, for teams based on their program history. And then their talent level, their returning production, right? You would have a band. You could still be off and you'd have to adjust. But the adjustments that you make, the amount that you could be off is now potentially massive for some of these teams. Like Purdue, Purdue is completely brand new staff, all new players.
Right.
The range of where they could be is I don't know.
I'll say this. I'll save it for the Big 12 podcast. I brought Oklahoma State back to their floor of their program level power rating. I still can't get to their win total.
It's going to be interesting to watch. There's some teams that are just completely unreal. And then I'll mention. I got to mention the Virginia schools, like Virginia and Vatech, Virginia Tech. It's time. You got to do something. Elliot, you got to get to a bowl. Pry, after last year with all that hype, all of that talent that they had. You have another bad year this year. I like his coordinator hires, but it seems like desperation move, right? And then Virginia with Elliott, it's hit the portal. You can see these coaches when they start to feel it. And then the last one is your boy, Samuel Pittman. What are your thoughts there? I mean, what's the number he gets to where he's safe?
If he makes a bowl, he stays if he wants to stay. And look, he gets the buyout's getting shorter. There are some things in his contract that gets rewards for 5 wins. This, again, is the toughest schedule in the nation. This whole Memphis Notre Dame thing, it's I almost think Hunter Yurachek, our AD, is creating these schedules to get Pittman out. But we are in the same place at the end of every season, which is who are you going to replace him with? Because when John Tyson decides to break his checkbook open for $20 million for Calipari, that's a statement that basketball is important. When we are building facilities around the center field wall and the left field bullpen and the right field, athletic training center on the baseball field, that's a statement that the money in this state is going to other programs besides football. We have the worst defensive line in the SEC, and the reason is because no one's opening up their checkbook. No one has any belief. Everyone loves Sam. Everyone loves him. But I feel like this is the swan song. I feel like T. Will, our defensive coordinator, is on his way to be a head coach somewhere. I feel like this is the swan song, and Yurachek is probably already looking for a next head coach, and Pittman's wanting to retire for a while anyway. So I'll save it for the SEC pod. I do not have good feelings about where this is going this year.
What is this stolen valor? Stolen valor in Fayetteville. You guys are trying to become Lexington, not care about football, not put the money in. You get Calipari, you take him. You're now trying to become a basketball school. Oh, and by the way, I didn't even mention
becoming a bad. What are you talking about?
No, but I'm saying I don't not even caring about football. You get Arkansas in the past has never been like that. Now you're at the point where you could lose to Arkansas State.
I'm not trying to listen. I'm done talking on. You only get 30 seconds of me on this shit because you've got that damn GIF of LSU beating us in the College World Series, on speed.
Oh, I forgot. That's why you hate LSU this year.
Shit. The more I mess with, every time I tweet, I'm afraid you're going to PTSD with that damn LSU loss up in Omaha. You're killing me.
That non-double play, man.
I know. What were you doing? Oh, okay. We're a basketball school.
But answer me this: Arkansas, if Arkansas, who they played September 6th in Little Rock against Arkansas State, and I mean, you can't lose that game. You can't lose to an in-state.
Frank Broyles would have never let us play that game. He would have never acknowledged there were other universities in the state.
Yeah, because they wanted it to. Everyone roots for Arkansas, and that's it, right?
Yep, that's it. All four corners.
So if Arkansas loses to Arkansas State, is Pittman gone that week?
He's not making it out of War Memorial. You might as well. He just hit the boat. Just go, Doug. Just get ready for deer hunting season. Go down to Stuttgart and get some pheasants going. I just don't come back.
That pod would be great if that happens. All right. Any other?
I'm going to drink Sam Pittman's beer of choice the entire podcast if that happens.
Any other coaching hot seats that you want to mention?
Yeah, I think the one I wanted to mention was Lincoln Riley. Like, I think people think he's on the hot seat. He's not. There's a lot of national talk about that.
Listen,
I agree. D'Anton Lynn raised USC from being bottom 10 defense in every metric to about 60th. I don't think people understand how much they improved on the defensive side. And I expect those numbers to get cut in half again, where I think USC could be top 35 in a lot of those numbers. So I think this Lincoln Riley stuff is BS. And I will just go ahead and let everybody know on our Big Ten pod, there's going to be a lot of love for the Trojans.
Yeah. One of the reasons I like USC this year too. One of the reasons that this is important to mention is like when you're going through win totals, not only for these teams with coaches on the hot seat or programs where it just could end up being it's like with Arkansas's schedule, like if it just goes south quick, and then what happens with these programs now, especially in today, then kids are going to start looking for their next stop, and then it just goes sour. So, but it's not only for those programs, it's like, who are the other teams that play these teams late in the year? If you have a couple teams where it's like, it's a very volatile situation, and at the end of the season, you play two of these teams who could have just coaches who are basically out the door or already fired. Something to keep in mind when you're just looking at these win totals. Quarterback battles that you're interested in? Anything you want to mention?
I'll start with UNLV because we have two completely different quarterbacks under Dan Mullen. Alex Orji was not allowed to throw the ball for Michigan at all, much better on the ground. And then Tony Calandria only throws 50-yard passes for Virginia. So can you tell me what offense we're running and which quarterback is going to run? I mean, to me, that kind of dictates what the identity of the UNLV offense is going to be. If Dan Mullen cares, is he just there on a Vegas vacation? And, he's not really known for recruiting. So UNLV to me is a mystery. And a lot of my power ratings, a lot of other preseason mags, they like UNLV to kind of hang up there at the top of the Mountain West, but what is our offensive identity with the go-go out of there now over, oh, by the way, Sacramento State, like if you like betting FCS, the go-go is at Sacramento State. But what is UNLV's identity? I think that's a big question for me.
I agree. It's an interesting one to watch. I'm not high on UNLV though. Don't like their coordinator hires either. Couple I'll mention, Syracuse. Like they named Ricky Collins the starter, but then they brought in Steve Angeli. So if Collins loses that, I mean, I think Angeli probably gives him the higher floor. Collins is the higher ceiling. Does it ultimately matter though with that schedule? I mean, Syracuse on the road. I mean, to clear their win total, they're going to have to sweep at home, I think. I mean, it is one of the hardest road schedules. I shouldn't say road, it's away from home because Tennessee's at a neutral. It's down south. Their away from home games are Tennessee, Clemson, SMU, Georgia Tech, Miami, and Notre Dame. Doesn't get any harder than that. BC, I think that they have a much higher ceiling if it's not Grayson James, and I think that's the way that it's trending. Although with BC, if you look historically, what happens, I mean, I think Lonergan, if he wins, it gives him a higher ceiling. But what happens with BC when they're good to decent versus really bad? It's all in the trenches. And they lost a ton. They lost the ACC Defensive Player of the Year on the defensive line and others, and they lost 3 or 4 offensive linemen to the NFL. So that could be remember BC's offensive line like 3 years ago? Oh, my God, it was so bad. And then their offensive line, when it's good, they're decent. So it might not matter. Cal, like it could be a dumpster fire regardless. But I think with Cal, if the young kid wins, like Devin Brown, he's not going to win anything. If the young kid wins it, might give them just more variance, higher ceiling, more excitement. Alabama, I'm very curious to watch.
Yeah.
Like, can Russell win that job? I mean, he probably has the highest ceiling of the bunch. And then you have another kid who knows who knows Grubb's offense, who comes from Washington. But then you have Ty Simpson, who's been with the program. I don't know. I mean, can Russell win it this early? Does he win it during the season? I'm really curious to watch what happens with Alabama.
Well, ultimately, Grubb is at the beginning of the year. Grubb is going to go with the one who makes him most comfortable, and it's probably going to be his guy, right? The one that's played under him. And I mean, I hear Ty Simpson is not really separating himself, so we'll see when camp comes around. But don't you really kind of hold on to your 5-star? Do you hold on to Keelan Russell and just kind of whip him out in the middle of SEC play and say, "Booyah, mofo's!" Like we've had this back here the whole time. Here's Keelan Russell and Ryan Williams just making all your secondary, look like, falling on the dance floor. So I don't know when they bring him in. I'm not sure that they do for the first half of the season.
Yeah, I'm not that high on Simpson. But if Russell wins the job, and because DeBoer's a smart guy, Grubb's a smart guy. If he wins the job this early, I think that says a lot about him. I mean, it also could just say that like Simpson has been really bad, but I don't know, might raise the ceiling for Alabama this year because there's a lot of other pieces in place with that team, and I think with the Grubb hire was smart. I think DeBoer was kind of DeBoer's all he's done is won. Now he was kind of hamstrung by what Milroe was last year and like what they could do offensively. But there were some things I didn't expect from DeBoer last year, like the Vandy game. They didn't seem prepared. The Michigan Bowl game was very puzzling. Like that's a game they just looked like they didn't show up for. There was a couple games where it was kind of a disappointing from a preparation perspective, but I still trust DeBoer as one of the best coaches in college football.
Well, not his roster either, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
first year.
They rigs it out.
Yeah.
So, when you look at the schedule, though, are you bringing Keelan in for Florida State? Maybe not. You're definitely not bringing him in against ULM. I mean, Wisconsin's that's going to be a grinding game where you're probably just going to run the ball behind with two great backs and a great offensive line. And then Georgia, do you hold them off until you and Georgia have bye weeks and you play September 27th and then you bring Keelan in? Maybe that's the spot. But trying to project where he comes in this season, maybe he doesn't get a lick of film until September 27th. It's going to be interesting.
Alabama, Florida State. I'm looking forward to that game so much. People the Florida State went 2-10 last year. They've been, and there's a ton of change. They've been sitting on that season for being told how bad they suck. There's a lot of new players, but they're going to come out with and then anything that Norvell has. They're coming out with it in that game. And it's at home. It's in Tallahassee. You're going to get Florida State's everything, the kitchen sink. Is it enough? I don't know. There's certainly questions on that roster. Castellanos he's kind of talking a little shit. But I think he fits well with Malzahn. Now, can they throw the ball? And we'll see. But then you had Alabama with these quarterback questions going into that game, and they're kind of coming off of a season where, it was the most losses in almost 20 years. They're coming off a season where they're kind of salty too, right? That's a really intriguing game. With
this is a job that Norvell passed on.
Yeah, a ton of storylines. So I'm looking forward to that game. Auburn Baylor's really interesting, just for the ceiling of both those teams. It could swing the win totals for both as well. K-State, Iowa State week 0. Unfortunately, that could have a huge impact, as we talked about earlier. In part 1, is Michigan going to roll with Underwood week 1 right off the bat? They got some hard games early, or this is going to be Davis, is going to be Keene. Speaking of young quarterbacks, is Maryland right off the bat? Loxley's done this before with freshman quarterbacks, but got a talented kid there. Are they going to go with Jefferson right off the bat? Purdue, kind of watching that. Notre Dame, I assume Carr is going to win it. And then Tennessee is very similar to Alabama in that you have like the guy who I think is the most talented is the least experienced. And McIntyre, McClinsky, I think that is his name. He's back. He
Yeah.
was in the system last year, so he knows the system. And then you have Aguilar, who, by the way, he's not going to SC Media Days. He's usually bringing a quarterback. He's not bringing him. I can't see Aguilar like getting Tennessee to a very high level this year. Too turnover prone.
1-to-1 ratio. Yeah, 1-to-1 ratio, big time throw, turnover worthy plays. He's every highlight you see, there's a bad one.
So curious to see what Tennessee does after all of the Nico drama in the offseason. So lots of quarterback battles to watch. Sometimes it says, and then this is like where I really watch in camp. Sometimes it says a lot about, it could say a lot about a young kid, like a ton of talent that, oh, he's getting this job this early. But then sometimes it can also say something about just like who the incumbent or who the presumed starter is going to be is a disaster. So it can go one of two ways. But sometimes one of the reasons I pay attention to those teams is just like where the ceiling for a certain team is. And that's why those quarterback battles can matter. Now, it doesn't always have to be decided week one. We've seen that in the past. As a couple weeks in, you can make a change, and that could change the trajectory of your season. But always interested to talk about. Before we get out of here, let's just go quickly through every conference. And by the way, before our conference previews, which will be out starting July 31st, we'll hit all of them, every team. Don't worry, we'll get the pack. We'll get the pack 2 in there with Mountain West, and then we'll have the Notre Dame in with ACC, I think. Don't worry, we'll get every team. And there's even new teams. They keep growing every year in college basketball. It's like it's getting hard enough with all these movements. It used to be so much easier to adjust teams over the summer. Now we just keep adding teams. We got Delaware, Missouri State. I think there's a new team in college basketball. Who is it this year? New Haven, I think.
New Haven.
I have to update. Don't even get me thinking about college basketball. I'm gonna. I think it's New Haven. It's going to be in the NEC. But
are you going to be able to name where all these teams are from?
Yeah, that's another thing. I got to like their actual like the town names. I used to know them all. I don't. The good thing with Delaware, I obviously know Delaware is in Newark. I mean, I grew up. Went to high school in Delaware. Missouri State, I know because they used to be
Southwest Missouri State.
They're in college basketball, but that's a good question. I got to go through, and in college basketball, I probably don't know them all anymore. But anyway, let's go through all of the. Let's just go through every league. Give a quick thought or two. You can give a win total, a future, a thought, overarching thought, whatever you want to do. Start the SEC. I think I already gave my thoughts. It's coaching continuity. I don't think there's any new head coaches, but quarterback uncertainty. It's kind of how I would sum up the SEC this year. Two of the teams that I'm high on, higher than the market, it seems, are LSU and Texas A&M. Not as high on the market. Tennessee, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Arkansas. I'm really worried about South Carolina's defense and some other positions. And Arkansas, I'll wait to get your full thoughts on the SEC episode. But any thoughts on the SEC?
Yeah, I'm going to go Oklahoma over 6.5. A little bit of juice there. I make it 8.
Stutzman's not there. You do know that.
I know Stutzman can't win the Heisman this year. It's pretty sad. I think there's major positive regression on injuries after what happened offensively last year. The non-con, Illinois State, Temple, Kent State, those are bye weeks. They only have 3 true road games since Red River is kind of neutral. So, and that's South Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama. The schedule, I think what makes win totals and why it was so hard last year, you have to have an out. And with Oklahoma's schedule, you have an out because this is the best hedge November forecast you can find. Field goal dog at Tennessee, touchdown plus faves hosting Missouri, and a pick against LSU to end the season. You're going to find ways to get in and out of that 6.5. I like Oklahoma over. It'll be going in the app.
Big 12. What else do you say? It's wide open. I'm a Baylor guy. Been a Baylor guy all summer. Every team is like 6-1 to win it.
I know.
I have a long shot in the Big 12, by the way. teaser. I haven't,
Like,
I
let's
haven't said it
wait.
yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to save it for the Big 12 episode. I have a long shot at double digits.
This guy, you're coming out with West Virginia, aren't you?
No, it's not West Virginia.
Okay. All right.
But I am a Baylor guy. Unders, I mean, I'm low on Colorado, BYU. I might.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to fade Dillingham, but
by the way, I think we're the only podcast that didn't like Jake Retzloff. So I don't think that really mattered to us.
Yeah, I'm not a Retzlaff guy.
Last year.
I wish I bet the under when it was out. I should have. Like, it's BYU, like, if you have sex, you're out. So, like, there was no, even if it came out that, like, you dropped the lawsuit, then you have to just say, like, it was consensual, but then you're out anyway. So, like, I should have bet the under when it, and then, but that obviously got hit hard. Kind of like the Arizona over, but any thoughts on the Big 12?
Yeah, I'm going to take a stab on a conference future. And you said everybody's 6-1. They're 6-1. I'm going to take Utah to win the Big 12 at 6-1 because there's so much that I like about, besides Beck and Dampier coming in from New Mexico, an offensive line that ranks as a top 10 national unit. Dampier created 54 missed tackles on the ground at New Mexico last year. If you take how many carries he had and you look at what his projection would be if he ran as many times as Ashton Genty, they have the same missed tackle forced rate per snap. It's insane how this kid moves. Once you get past that, remember, Big 12 plays 9 games. They have 5 at home. Texas Tech, they're off a bye against Arizona State, Colorado, Cincy, Kansas State. Utah is going to host Kansas State and Rice Eccles in late November. The Wildcats will be coming off back-to-back travel. The Utes are going to be off a bye in late November. That is a monster game against Kansas State and all the advantages in the world for Utah. Utah gets a bye week before they go to Baylor. That's a huge game. They should be 10-point faves going to West Virginia. And by the way, it doesn't apply to this bet, but that week 1 against Nico and UCLA, I mean, you're going to put Nico at UCLA's system with a new offensive coordinator against a 4-2-5 Morgan Scalley. Psh, I've already got my money in on the Utes for that game. So Utah 6-1 for Big 12 for me.
I'm worried about, can Dampier stay healthy for a full season?
I hope.
Doing what he does. Because you need his legs. He still can improve as a passer. There's still some deficiencies there. But when he's the most dangerous, especially in that offense, you're bringing over he's going to be in the same scheme. His legs, but schedule is going to get a lot tougher now. Can he hold up? Hate to break it to you. We just got over Cam Rising. Maybe we'll be talking about, is Dampier playing this week all season with injuries? Hopefully not. But let's go to Big Ten. Similar to SEC, which I don't think is a coincidence, head coaching stability, quarterback questions. I mean, I think you only have 5 of the 18 teams have a quarterback that is the presumed starter that started at the beginning of last year. I think you got, Illinois, Penn State, Rutgers, Michigan State. It might only be 4 because USC might have took over late in the year. Raiola is the 5th. I like USC, as you mentioned before. Is this a year with Nebraska? I kind of like Nebraska. And that's all I'll say. I'll save my future. But Nebraska, I think if they can fix their special teams, which I think that they might have, maybe they could finally win some close games. I mean, the stats for their close games are unfathomable. They've since 2018, they've lost like 34 one-possession games. The next team is like 25. But any thoughts on the Big Ten?
Yeah, I was going to save it for the Big Ten podcast, but I'll go ahead and get it out there. I'm going to take Michigan to make the Big Ten championship game at 4-1. It's probably because I don't think our app has to make the championship game, so I'm probably going to put it in.
I'll see if we can get them up.
Yeah. So let's talk about Michigan real quick because I really kind of wanted to save the love, but I think other people are going to push this number a little bit, and so I want to get out ahead of it. This is the easiest strength of schedule of any Big Ten team by far. No Penn State, no Oregon, no Indiana, no Illinois. The game against Ohio State is in Ann Arbor. Bryce Underwood getting Brent Venables' defense, OU's defense in week 2, I think that helps prepare him for what is an extremely soft Big Ten schedule. I project Michigan as a 3 TD favorite in 4 straight Big Ten games and late in the season. Listen to this. They'd be 21-point favorites against Michigan State, Purdue, Northwestern, and Maryland. What a cake. I think, could you not line them up and knock them down any better for Michigan? They're going to be so fresh towards the end of the season. Potentially the best defensive front 7 in FBS. Their top 2 tacklers return at linebacker, 2 havoc making edges, and TJ Guy and Derek Moore. I have no questions about the defense. I think Bryce Underwood is the question. When does he play? I think he starts day 1, and I think the experience against OU in week 2 and Invincible's defense is going to pay off in what is one of the softest Big Ten schedules you can find.
I'm not quite there, but we'll say that for a Big Ten episode. I do think people are underestimating the impact of the loss of their interior defensive linemen, but their linebackers are going to be good. Their edge rushers will be good. Their defense is going to be good. Their offense is the question for me. Their offensive line, their receivers, obviously the quarterback. Don't like their coordinator, but we'll argue about that later. How about ACC? You've already, my biggest question with the ACC, it's pretty crazy. If you go down the list, how many teams do you feel, there's so many teams where I'm like, the defensive backs, the secondary is a huge question mark. Just look at all the losses. You go down the line, there's a lot of guys, Louisville lost Riley. I mean, they lost their entire secondary. Florida State, they lost Thomas to the NFL. Georgia Tech, they lost a couple starters. Miami, they bring Federic back, lost everyone else. SMU, the safeties are good, but they lost McGill and Crossley. Clemson, they do return a lot, but they lost Mickens to the NFL. Pitt lost their best corner by far and their best safety by far. UNC rebuilt. NC State rebuilt. Duke, they get Rivers, who's shut down corner, but they lost Stinson and Pickett. Moore's back at safety as well. Tech lost Strong to the NFL. 3 others, they're rebuilt. Hughes has 1 starter back. Virginia lost Sanker, their best safety, to the NFL. They still experience at safety, but corner's a question. Wake rebuilt. Cal lose 3 to the NFL in the secondary.
Yeah.
BC, they have questions in their trenches, which I'm worried about. But BC is like one of the ones I feel the best about with their secondary. They get some guys back that were hurt, and then they had some young guys. I think that's the Halfley influence. But they had some young guys who looked good stepping up for injured guys last year, and they get everyone back. So a lot of questions about the defensive backfields, which I think is going to go a long way, and who can figure that out in a league that has, Klubnik, Jennings, now Mensa, Beck, Lopez. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. There's some quarterbacks, there's some teams that can throw it around. Defensive backs is like what I'm really trying to figure out this summer. Some quarterback battles that I'm watching. I might be selling Duke, to be honest with you. I can get into that in the ACC. I know that they're spending. I know that Diaz did a great job in week 1, but you want to talk about a team that got lucky. Holy moly. They had like 7 coin flip games, and they won them all. I don't want to bring up that Northwestern game.
You bring up that Friday night Northwestern game. I'm about to throw up on that one.
The one game they got unlucky in was SMU, but like SMU had 6 turnovers in that game. Cuse, I don't know how Cuse gets to 6 wins, but I don't know. BC, I think they're going to be a disaster in the trenches. Cal, I think, it's just going to be a dumpster fire. I think Wake's going to be a dumpster fire. And I might sell Clemson. Any thoughts on the ACC? I want to bet Clemson not to win the ACC. Is that out there?
Yeah, that's out there.
Where's that at?
DK.
I bet $1 on.
Well, I take that back. There's to not make the playoff. So it really kind of serves as the same thing as not winning the ACC. But then again, they could at large. Yeah, you're going to have to look for that. We're going to have to wait for the ACC podcast because I'm on an angle and I don't know how to play it. And I'm kind of waiting for the market to mature. And to me, there is a race for second place in this conference in the ACC. And the 2 teams, in my opinion, are SMU and Louisville. And SMU, I think they have a very high floor. I don't think their ceiling is as high as last year. I don't think they're on the edge of the playoff. I think they're more about 15, 16. But their strength of schedule is 74th, easiest in the conference outside of Virginia. They return 117 starters in the offensive line for Kevin Jennings. That's the 15th highest in the nation. The schedule is the star of this team again. Like, I was hot on them last year, like calling them for make the playoff, and everybody was laughing at me last year. Like, the schedule is the star again.
That's like Missouri. The schedule is always their star. How about Missouri's schedule, by the way?
Yeah, Missouri's going down. The SMU starts ACC play on a bye week hosting Syracuse. I project SMU as a 10-point favorite as a minimum in 5 games. Cuse, Stanford, Wake, BC, and Cal. What a schedule. And then the crown jewel of this is that Louisville and SMU actually play each other. And I can't get a game of the year on it It's the second to last week of the year before Thanksgiving, right? And the reason why this is perfect for SMU and why I would slot SMU above Louisville is that SMU is coming off a bye November 22nd. Louisville has that game in between Clemson and Kentucky. That is a primo SMU spot. That's why I'm firm in my stance that I think SMU is the second best team in the ACC. I don't know if I play them to make the championship game at plus 320 or if I wait for the game of the year to come out. I'm not sure how to play it. But at SMU Louisville game is a massive spot for SMU and a bad spot for Louisville.
I will have an ACC future. It will not be Clemson. It will not be SMU. It will likely not be Miami.
Better not be Miami.
I will save the reveal for the ACC episode. All right, let's get to some G5. Let's go Mountain West. I'm an Air Force guy this year. I like their over. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go Hawaii under 6.5. I project them 4.3. Timmy Chang is 2-15 on the road. They're losing Shager. They need Micah Alejandro they need him to.
He looked good. He looked good. I'll tell you that in his one start.
He needs to step up a little bit, but look at this schedule. They're going to play their 6th game of the season on September 27th. I mean, they're consecutively from week 0 going on. And what is that September 27th game? A road trip to Air Force? Like your 6th consecutive game and you're going to triple option Air Force and elevation. And then they travel off the island. The second half of their schedule, they travel off the island like 3 or 4 weeks. And Mountain West played at Colorado State, elevation, San Jose State, and UNLV. I have them favored in only 3 home games, Sam Houston, Portland State, and field goal faves to the electric San Diego State team. I don't know. Under 6.5? Like, I know it's juice. That's going in the app right after this podcast. That is an obscene number. I would take under 5.5. I'd take under 5. I mean, I'm not even close.
I'm not there on Hawaii, but we'll debate that later. San Diego State, I kind of like over. Unders, as of right now, UNLV, Colorado State, Wyoming are in the mix, selling those 3 teams. AAC, the Charlotte over is tempting.
Yeah.
I got a future in the AAC that I'll save. Wait, who's doing the? Let me see if
that's you. It's not me.
There's one episode that AAC. Okay, I got a good future in the AAC. I'll save for that episode.
Okay, so I'll get mine. You want me to get mine now?
And then I'm kind of a seller of Army this year.
I can't believe you just said that out loud.
Yep.
It's Commie Stuckey, not Commie Wilson. So I'll just be real quick. Low-hanging fruit, sorry. Temple under 3.5. Casey Keeler is brought in to rebuild the program, the recruiting, and the transfer portal because everything with that program is completely broken. New schemes on both sides of the ball, Tyler Walker and Brian Smith at the coordinator positions. Potential 4 wins that could beat this. Here's the potential 4 wins. The only ones on the schedule for Temple. -2.5 in the opener against UMass. Howard week 2. Charlotte's a pick'em on October 18th on the road. But then they go back-to-back travel on the road again, October 25th to Tulsa is what I have projected as a 4-point dog. They have to win all 4 of those games to beat this win total. So I like under 3.5. It's only juice -115.
Temple ends the Venables tenure with a win at home over Oklahoma. What a weird game.
Wow.
Kidding. But that would be something.
That
is a fireable game. That's like the Pittman losing to Ark State. If Venables loses to Temple, you leave him in Philly. Conference USA. I can't say it out loud. Anything about Middle Tennessee over, but I might be buying UTEP in some way. Unders. I mean, Jack State and Sam Houston, I think, are going to be disasters this year. To take a massive step back. I mean, the market obviously knows that, but might not be enough yet. Anything on Conference USA?
I actually went with a week 1 total. I'm going to put a little half unit in because I know totals aren't available everywhere, but I'm going to do Sam Houston, Western Kentucky over 61.5. Key numbers in total, 62 and 65. I'm going to keep an eye on weather, extreme heat or wind to see if that'll bother it. But when you have a Phil Longo offense, which is generally top 10 in tempo, every stop he's been at, Ole Miss, UNC, tried to do that at Wisconsin. And then Western Kentucky with quarterback Maverick McIver, he'll be slinging from the opening snap. I see absolutely 0 defense being played in this game. These 2 teams project, if you go and look at unit rankings, they project as having the worst defensive front sevens in all of Conference USA, which means the worst in the nation in FBS. So what I see is not so much the offenses are going to be functioning like Longo's offense. I'm not sure is just going to function from the second that they take the snap. I think Western Kentucky will. But what I see is what's an average game? 10, 11 possessions. I think there could be like 18 possessions in this game. I think there's going to be a lot of 3 and outs. I think we're going bombs. And if it's not, we're 3 and out, we're punting. I think there could be like 18 to 20 possessions in this game. That's good enough for me to take a shot on the over 61.5.
Sun Belt. I know you have a lot of love for Southern Miss, which I'm sure you'll mention.
Yep.
The old Southern Miss, or I should say the new Southern Miss, is Marshall. I'm selling Marshall. My favorite win total so far, under Marshall. I at 5.5.
Oh, we love Tony Gibson. We love him.
I think they're going to go like 3 and 9. So I think there's still room. It was 5.5. I think it's 5 now everywhere, but under.
You know how we bet San Diego State overs? I think we should be betting Marshall unders every week.
Don't mind.
With his defense and no offense, I think every game's an under.
They did lose their entire defense though. But Sun Belt, you love Southern Miss.
I do. If you don't have them yet, I think 15-1 is the stopping point. I took 40-1 back in May. Essentially, Charles Huff bringing everything from Marshall over, including his quarterback Braylon Braxton. He, I think, is the best quarterback in the Sun Belt, and defensive end Jim Montap might be the best edge rusher in the conference. So Southern Miss is the new Marshall. 40-1's gone. See if you can find a 30-1, 25-1 still good. I'd probably stop buying at 15-1.
All right, you're doing that episode, so we'll save some more on that.
Yep.
Lastly, the MAC.
Oh,
I can't spoil anything before my beloved MAC episode, but might be selling Ohio, which I was so dead wrong on last year. MAC Manifesto. I still have a lot of work to do in MAC. I spent a lot of time digging into like the injuries in the fall. I mean, in camp are huge too in the MAC.
Yep.
So I still have a lot of work to do in the MAC.
I'm going to take my shot.
But what do you got?
I'm going to take my shot and then listen to you very carefully. Might even try to steal your notes before you go live, but I'm going Central Michigan 20-1. I just cannot get over the fact that Matt Drinkhall comes from Army. He's been the main driver in that offensive shift for Army. That kind of
one of the reasons I don't like Army. I'm a little low on Army.
Right. Yeah. So all of a sudden, CMU, the Fire Up Chips is going to run this offense, the same triple elements at CMU. And you and I just said earlier on these 2 podcasts, you want to get gimmicky, do it in the G5. You can flip the league upside down. Central Michigan out there is 20-1. Jordan Kwiatkowski returns at linebacker. He was all second team MAC. And there has to be positive regression to the turnovers last year. The Chips were second to the worst in the nation in turnover margin, -17. That has to flip itself. I don't have a lot to say about the personnel and offense that can run this Drinkhall system, but the fact that you're practicing the triple every single day and the MAC teams now have to like pause themselves and defend this shit, like to me, that is worth a long shot future. Central Michigan 20-1 going in the app here today.
I might agree with you. But I have a lot to say.
Shit, I didn't want to spoil that for you, but I mean, you know the rules. You can't run this gimmicky offense in this conference. It's gonna work. It's gonna bend some shit.
I'll have much more to say about MAC Manifesto, Mac. But all right, that's enough. We've done 2.
Yep, that's
we could talk for hours, but we'll save some for the conference previews, which will all come starting July 31st. It's good to be back. By the way, which I didn't mention, we said year 9. The only reason it's year 9 is because of all of you. We appreciate all of you. Can't wait for the voicemails to be back, but we thank all of you for listening, being with us. Can't wait to sweat games and go through another season again. Hopefully can end it very profitable. But thanks to Collin. It's good to be back. It's good to see you, my friend. Thanks to Collin for joining me. Thanks to our producer, Matt Mitchell, on the back end. Most importantly, thanks again to all of you. Make sure you subscribe, unsubscribe, subscribe, tell a friend, tell an enemy. 5-star reviews are huge this time of year. We'll do a bunch of contests, giveaways, coming up if you leave 5-star reviews, but now's the time. If you can just take a minute or so, that'll be really helpful. But we group of 5 kickoff episode will be out on Monday. We'll be back July 31st to start the conference previews for every single college football team. It's the best time of the year. Season will be here before we know it. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll catch y'all later. Cheers.
Peace out.